It's April 2024 and Microsoft Power BI just released a new visual, the 100% stacked area chart. In this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about this. We're going to dive deep into it. We'll go through two examples. The first will focus on how to utilize stacked area pertaining to measure percentages. The second will focus on how to determine stacked area chart percentages based upon categorical percentages. After that, we're going to go into formatting details. Notice the line differences. Some are smooth, some are stepped, marker differences, series labels. There's one with the legend at the top, one with the legend at the side that follows each line. You're going to have a full understanding for how to use this new visual at the end of this tutorial. If this is your first time joining or watching, hit subscribe. We have more content coming all the time, equipping you to become a Power BI master. Now, let's dive into Power BI Desktop. All right, so here we are in Power BI Desktop. Look at these two visuals. Here's how this video is going to go down. First, go into the description of this YouTube video. Go to the GitHub link and download this file. You can follow along. We're going to build these visuals going step by step through every aspect of them, equipping you with how to build them. So you're going to follow along. Now, let's talk about these two visuals. So for each of these, the 100% stacked area chart, what it does is it takes any value, either counts or measure percentages, and it makes up measure values and makes a percentage of it. So for example, in January, with this top one, it's going to show where there was $106,000 returned, $247 sold, and 70-30 percentages. So it shows the percentage of the total. Down here, we're showing it by product. So now we have the net sales, and it's automatically calculating these percentages by product, Office, Power Platform, Xbox, etc. So when you have categories and or values and you want to compare them over time, a stacked area chart is just an awesome way to do that. And you can see how it will allocate percentages based upon whatever each value is. There's also a lot of details around these visuals. You can see that there's a step line here. This one's smooth. They release multiple new line formatting functionalities. So we're going to go through those. So let's just start building these things. Let's dive into it. All right. So what we're going to do first is build a stacked area line chart based upon multiple measure values. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to get the values we care about. So in the top right-hand corner, calculations, we're going to go to sales. We want the sold amount, and then we want the returned amount. And after you add things to the visual, we're going to do this by time. So we have what's in here, a date, the date hierarchy, and it's going to default to picking a visual. We're going to get away from that. What we're going to do is we're going to change this visual to the new stacked 100% area chart right here. When we click this, here's where we start. So what is going to be cool with this is you're going to see how to go from this standard visual to this. It's very important for all this formatting. You're going to learn how to do that. So what we're going to do first is we're going to change, we'll go top down. So this title, we're going to rename it. We're going to call it 100% distribution of total sold and total returned over time. Okay, everything's going to be DIN for the font as well. We're going to put this to 10, bold, center it. Also, you'll notice that the background for the one on the left is black. So let's just start actually with that size factor. And we're going to change that background to black. That way we'll kind of bring things to life as we go through this process by changing the color as well. So the title, bring it to life, change this color to white. Boom. Okay, so you notice that this has a series label. So we're going to set that up here in a second, but let's just get our axis all set up. In this case, we're going to go to first, we don't care about quarter. So let's remove the quarter. We don't care about day. We just want this value right here. January, February, March, April, June, May, June. Okay, So we're here. Now let's change the x-axis to white as well. Put it to din, 8, and bold it. Let's change now, and you can see it's just the months. Again, you can set this up however you want. You can have drill down if you want to keep that going. For the y-axis, we're going to change the values, put those to white as well, din, and you should be following along. As you follow along, you're going to equip yourself. You're going to master this stuff. The title, we don't need that. We're going to get rid of it because we're going to be labeling what that value is by doing this new series label. We can tell what it is. It follows the line. It's very cool. So as we're going to do that, we're going to actually turn off the legend too. We don't need it. You can see that these are flipped. So I'm going to show you so many details for how to do this. All right, let's first pick our colors. So now we have these values, and you can see it's distributing them over time based upon 100% total. And let's change the line stuff now. This is where we can really get into the details. So first, let's start with color. Now you'll notice in order to change the color, you have to pick the series you care about. So in this case, we're going to go to the series of sold. I want that sold to be this green color. We're then going to go to the series of returned. I want that to be this red color. And now we have that starting to kind of shape up, but there's still a ways to go. So we're going to notice next that we'll set the line kind of type. So these are new features as well for the detailed for how to do this. And we'll show them differently on this one and this one. So first, let's make this width of the line bigger. In this case, we'll go to all, and we'll make the width 605. Same with return 5. Okay, so when we're here, now let's change it the line style. So what we can see is the line style is solid dash. We'll keep it. We don't want to make it dash. We'll just keep it solid. But the type, and we'll keep going to reverse the order. So we want to have the return on the bottom. And now when we come into the lines, series all, the interpolation type, this is where we're going to get more and more details. You notice the reverse order. I wanted to put the returns on the bottom, but now we can do smooth, which we'll get to more down here, and how we can set up different types of smooth. But in this case, we're going to do step. And for each step, you can pick if you want the step to happen before the date or after or center. In this case, we want it center because it equivalates to the total for the month. Let's also turn on the markers. So if we click all or on, you can change a marker per series if you want to. In this case, we're going to do the diamond, and we'll make it a little bit bigger. I think over here I chose 8 point. Looks like we'll do 8. If you also want the markers to be different colors, you can do that too. Again, like a red or a black. You can set that up however you want. In this case, we're going to keep it kind of how it is. So we also don't need to have this month here. This is time. I missed this. I just saw on the x-axis, we don't need a title. Get rid of that. So we're already shaping this up. But now let's keep going and let's add the series labels. So with the series labels, what that's going to do, and we're going to do some formatting of it as well, is the series labels, it puts a actual the label next to each line. And this can be pretty cool, especially when you have the space to do it, because every line is going to end at some point. So in this case, we're going to set it up like this, but let's format it to make each of these the actual color of the line. This is where you get more detail. So for the series label, we'll go to return. What I want to do is set the background of this to be that same red color. Transparency 0, so it just pops out. It's popping right out for us. And we'll do the values to be black. Keep it with din, maybe even bold it so it just kind of stands out. Return, look at that. Now let's go to sold. And we're going to do the same thing. We want the background for this to be on. We want it to be this cool green color because that's the same color as the line. So it subliminally correlates what's going on there. Din, we'll make this black as well. There's so much formatting. You're going to really be equipped with this. Now, here's what I like to do too. You can change this as you see fit. But for this visual, I wanted to take the values and actually flip them, switch them and put them over to the other side. So to do that, if we go to first the y-axis and we say, let's switch axis position, now just move it to the right for us. If we want to then take the series labels, now the series labels, we can choose where we want those to go. By going to all, you have to move all of them in series position left. Now we just did it. We moved these series positions over to the left-hand side. But let's keep adding the data labels because this is important too. It kind of blocks it and it shows it for each thing what we're doing here. So now the final step is, let's go to the data labels and we're going to turn these on. And you'll see by default, again, you need these steps to just take it to the next level for the formatting. What we're going to do is have multiple layers of visuals or of labels. So by default, it starts with this detail. So in this case, we want the detail label for every series to be white. So I'm going to make this white and we want it to be din, smaller, and there we go. But we also want to add the value. And now this value comes up. I'm going to make this black for all of them. And we're going to do the same thing with din 8. And this value though, what we're noticing is it's kind of hard to see. It also is on left to right. So we want to stack it up. So what we can do with these values is if we go back to all, the layout, we're going to choose multi-line. Boom, we just stack these things up. Now let's add the background. And this is where you can customize it. We can get into the detail for every single series. And again, you can choose whichever formatting option you want for these things. So in this case, I'm going to go to returned. I want the background on, and I want this background to be red. I want it to be non-transparent, so it's just boom. Look at that popping. Now it's calling it out. Finally, we'll go to the sold, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the sold and set the background to on, change this color to green, all the way down to the transparency. And look at that. We have created in these steps a visual that's going to unlock your ability to make custom visuals. Oh, let's also remove these grid lines too. Let's get rid of some of these things. So if we go to grid lines, vertical, off, just turn that stuff off, keep it clean. And look at that. That is looking awesome. So now what we're going to do next is we're going to go to the next visual, and it's going to be another take on it because this way you can just understand how it works. Again, this is calculating measures. So the measures themselves are showing the percentage of what they are, these calculations that we chose. For this case, we're going to have it automatically calculate something based off of net sales. So what we're going to do is the same thing. Sometimes I like to put the data on here by a table. We'll add the date hierarchy, and then we're going to pick, we care about the calculation, sales, we care about net sales. So we have these values, and now we care about chopping those things up by the net sales per product category. So here's our root values. Now let's come up here, change this to the new stacked 100% chart, and you'll see that we start to have these values here. I'm going to drill down to the layer that I want. In the same thing, let's remove quarter again. So you can see we have the guts of this. What's interesting to note is, and again, this is why these videos are important, because we're going to show you how to go from this elementary visual on the right to something cool like this. And it makes a difference. It takes 10 minutes to format it, but you need to know all these steps. So what's important to note about the 100% visual is sometimes negative values are counted. And when that happens, it takes the absolute number of that number and makes it 100%. So typically you see, like if you hover over something, maybe we'll look over here because it's done. These percentages on the right, 27, 43, 29, these add up to 100%. But if something has a negative total, in this case, the Office 365, well, it's still going to have an absolute 100% value, which means 45 plus 43 plus a positive 11 to get a 100% total. So you'll notice that that's what makes that swing. But now let's start with some basics. So what we can do is anytime we have something that we've already created, we can just click Format Painter, apply the painter. whoa, that looks pretty crazy. It's not what we want, but that's a good step just to kind of get some things going. And then we're going to flip and change things and update how it looks. So let's start by setting up the colors of these things. And as you can see, doing that, we'll do this if you want to. Just to show how that's how you can copy and paste it. And we will go through the process for how to switch these things up. It's just going to make you even more knowledgeable versus starting from the scratch to actually undo and redo something. So let's go for it. So we're in here now, and let's go first to the lines and set the colors for these things. So Xbox, we want this to be this cool neon. For, oh, actually we don't. We want Xbox to be pink. For Power Platform, we want this to be yellow. For Office 365, we want this to be blue. All right, we have these set up. Now we want to change the labels. We don't want these series labels, but we do want the legend. So this is another way to do it. Put the legend at the top, come up here. We don't need the title of the legend, but we do want to have the legend centered. And you can do that by choosing the position, top center. We want it to be din, everything din. It keeps it tight. Hit bold, and we want the color to be white, so it kind of pops. And look at that, there we go. Let's also change the title of this entire thing, because this one's going to be different. This one is going to be 100% distribution of net sales over time per product category. All right, so we have that set up. Now let's look at our line type. So we want to have a totally different type of line for this one, just to show the capabilities. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the lines. We're going to select all. And this type, we want it to be smooth. Now this is some cool stuff. So what you can change, let's reverse the order of these things. So when you click reverse order, now it's not reversing them because I had it applied before. It's going to appropriately stack these things up. But let's do this. So when you pick a line type, you can do cardinal. And what this allows us to do is actually just control the degree of smoothness. If we go to 0, it's very straight. Smooth it out somewhere in the middle. You know, you can get the degree of smoothness, which is a cool feature. So now as we're progressing, well, let's keep looking at this and let's flip the y-axis back to the left-hand side, these 100% numbers. So we're going to go switch axis position, turn that off, switch it back. But now we can see, let's look at our markers. We want those markers to be set up the same way as well. So we'll go to the marker section and let's make these circle. Boom, setting it up, looking solid. Now what we've done here is we've changed it to actually show the percentages being the color of the line and the box standardized. So it's a flip, it's an inverse of what we've done. And this is going to be helpful because it's just going to allow you to have knowledge for different ways to format these things. This is the goal, to give you lots of tools and skill sets so you can do what you want on your own visuals. So now we're going to go to the data labels. For these, under all, we're going to turn the background on. And what I like to do is, pick black, and you can kind of set the transparency to make it kind of grooving. In this case, I think I did 38. So we'll go to 38. And the reason why it's kind of dark is it's going to let the white pop and it'll let the neon pop. So with all, what we're going to see is that the value is going to be white. But now we want to color each of the individual detailed layers. So now what we do is we pick a series, Office 365. We go to the detail section. We say we want Office 365 to be this cool neon color. And now that changed. Repeat the process, Power Platform. We want the detail to be this cool yellow color. Awesome. And then finally, Xbox. We want this detail value to be the cool pink color. And look at that. Now we've gone through the process where you are, what's also one final step. How about this formatting? So you can control the formatting. Maybe we want to simplify the percentages. So if we go to data labels, we'll choose all. We'll go to the detail and decimal places 0. There, now we've done everything. So you can control so much of this. After this now, you are fully equipped with how to use this new visual. Enjoy it, dive into it. Again, hit subscribe if this is your first time. We'll have more content coming all the time for you. You now should have a full understanding for how to build this cool 100% stack chart visual. Enjoy, have a good one. Bye.